Welcome to a special edition of Astrology Today with Jeff Harman. I'm Jeff's assistant, Ella. Great to see you. Thanks for joining us. Jeff is going to talk about the fall equinox for 2023. Without further ado, let's get started, Jeff.
All right. Yeah, the fall equinox, it's a lot of very interesting information that surrounds the equinoxes and the solstice points. Equinox comes from a Latinized term that means equal. It means the days and nights are exactly equal. It's also known as the even. So what's interesting about the solstices and the equinoxes is many ancient cultures have built, like Chaco Canyon and so many other cultures in India and Egypt, they had built certain monoliths and also architectural structures to align with the solstices and equinoctial points, especially the equinox. The 4 points of the year are the spring equinox, and that's, of course, when the sun ingresses into the tropical sign of Aries. Then we have the summer solstice, which is the tropical sign of Cancer. And then we have the fall equinox, when it ingresses into the very first minute and second of the tropical sign of Libra. And of course, the winter solstice happens in Capricorn. So these are very important energetic points. And another thing I want to bring up is one of my favorite ancient texts is the Sefer Raziel. Sefer, of course, means book, and Raziel means the Archangel Raziel. And this is an ancient legend where this book came from. The Archangel Raziel was sent by God to Adam because he was so distraught when he was brought from the spiritual realms into the physical worlds. He wanted to literally not be here. So Archangel Raziel brought that text. Well, one of the elements, not the only, but one of the really cool elements in the Sefer Raziel is the discussion of how myriads upon myriads of angels would change positions at the equinox and solstice points. And my opinion is they do if you get in touch with it. If you take our heads out of the modern technocratic world, out of our iPhones, our Androids, and our computer screens, and we start really getting in touch with the energy, you can feel it. Of course, the leaves start turning, right? And we feel the many of the animals are hiding food and burying food, little squirrels, all the different things. And the coats start changing. They start thickening on many different animals, the deer and so on and so forth, and fox and bears. The bears start going to hibernation. Really cool when you get in touch with the world itself, the real world, not the one humans always create. So this is actually a pretty good fall equinox. And the reason why, what the ancients knew is they would always look at the astrological configurations at the exact minute and second that it happened in their region. Now, of course, we're in the United States, and for any of you guys listening in other parts of the world, it's still just as important for everybody, no matter where you are. But I'm going to focus on the Washington, D.C., also known as the District of Criminals. Anyways, the point is this fall equinox is actually kind of cool. This is why a lot of information's coming out, both good and ill. And the reason why in Washington, D.C., you always take it for where the capital of the country is. Now, obviously, you could look at it in your place of location if you wanted to. You could cast the chart. The exact minute and second that this happens in the United States, in Washington, D.C., is September 23rd at 2:49:46 Eastern Daylight Time. Okay, so that means 2:49:46 a.m. I'd have to define that, a.m. in the morning. That is the fall equinox this year on the 23rd, which will fall on Friday. Get in touch with this energy. Oftentimes, people would do meditation and prayers on these. They would light a candle, light some incense. And we did a very important podcast just recently speaking about the ancient sacred holy magic, which is called the Book of Abramelin, or the other book, which is called the Sacred Magic of Abramelin the Mage. And it specifically talked about the 6 lunations between the spring equinox and the fall equinox. And what does that mean? Well, lunations is each new moon as it goes around each month. And of course, the ancient legend, and I don't believe it's a legend, I absolutely personally believe it and know it's true. And that is your guardian angel would appear to you if you purified the soul out of the white noise of humanity and all the stuff we get elementaled and tampered down with in our lives. But if you purified the soul, the guardian angel would appear to you and teach us all kinds of secrets of the universe, creation, and of the soul. Very, very interesting stuff. So long story short, that's another meaning of the equinoxes and how important the spring and the fall equinox were in the ancient sacred knowledge. So it's, nothing wrong with us, even if we're not going to have the guardian angel appear. I hope you do. But even if you don't, this is a great sacred time of purification. And many people who practice different religions will know that this is also the high holidays. Rosh Hashanah just happened, the high holidays in Judaism, where they celebrate that whole arc of the elements of the angel visiting them. So very interesting stuff. And I will tell you from an astrological standpoint, I did cast this. I'll put that on the screen. And you can actually see here that Venus in Washington, D.C. is in the ascendant, and it's being sextiled by Mars. Now, the interesting thing is Venus just went direct, and it's actually going to overtake Mars, and that'll separate right around the 26th. But it's a good energy to have locked in. Most importantly, the moon is translating light. And that's a strange word for anyone who's not familiar with it. That means the moon is like a baton race. It hands its light to Mercury, and then it translates over to Jupiter by trines. And Mercury and Jupiter are trining each other as well. So what does this mean all in plain English? Really good energy. And I had mentioned that the Mercury-Jupiter trine is going to go on until the 25th. So that's this Monday coming up if you're in the Western Hemisphere. So very good energy. This is a great time. Again, I had mentioned this in a previous podcast, to plant seeds, to do intellectual things, to come up with strategies and plans and ideas and write them down. Pay attention to your ideas. They're like dewdrops from heaven. So get your bucket out and catch them. So, and that could be, write them down in your journal, or if you want, record them on an iPhone or Droid, whatever it is, or just keep them in the back of your mind. So really a pretty nice fall equinox energy here for creative and intellectual juices to flow. I like that. And even though, I've been talking a lot about all the intense stuff, many psychics and astrologers have been talking about this, and intuitives, that we do look like we have an intense time coming up over this next election year. This is a wonderful energy, I think, to enjoy right now. Especially, they always said the equinoxes and the solstices ruled each quarter of the year. See, because there's 4 of them. So 3 months each. Very interesting energy on this one. I actually like it. And I think you'll find that if you get in touch with these energies, there's a real sacredness to them. Light a candle, do a little meditation, set some goals, say a prayer, whatever it is that you do, and you might find this is a great energy for it.
That's awesome. That's good news. I love hearing that. It's really good news. I'm definitely going to tap into it. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Tap into that fall equinox 2023 energy. It'll be great. See you next time. See you Friday.